The last thing you want to hear when you need your auto insurance most is a robot with countless irrelevant menu options. Which is why with USAA Auto Insurance, you'll get great service that is easy and reliable, all at the touch of a button. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
USAA. At the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event, get deals so right, it almost feels wrong. Now's the best time to get that Hyundai you've always wanted. Plus, every new Hyundai comes with America's Best Warranty and 3 years or 36,000 miles of limited complimentary maintenance. Don't think you can get away with all that? Think again. The Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Visit your local Hyundai dealer today. It's a great day for a new Hyundai.
This episode is brought to you by Cadillac. When you have 4 new tires, every drive feels fresh. Right now, buy 3 select tires and get 1 for just $1 during the Cadillac Certified Service Fresh Start Tire Event. Visit Cadillac.com/service offers or see dealer for full details. At participating U.S. GM dealers only. Highest or equal value tire will be $1. Offer ends 5/31/2025. Not available with other offers.
This is the Dragon's Lair in association with the Riverside Sports Bar Newport, an American-style bar with a proper Welsh feel.
Hello and welcome to the Dragon's Lair podcast in association with Riverside Sports Bar, the home of live sport and great food in Newport. I'm Jamie and joining me as always is Gavin Thomas. Gavin, have you recovered from the weekend?
Just about. There was a long journey back as well this morning, but it was a good weekend in many ways, and it was a less good weekend in other ways.
Yeah, it was. Gareth Leclerc's joining us. Gareth, hello. Have you recovered from the weekend? I think you're struggling, aren't you? Out of all of us, the most.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I've quite recovered, and maybe got into my 3-year-old's Easter eggs a bit today to aid the recovery. But yeah, good day, and good to see you out as well, Jamie.
Yeah, it was a good day. We will get into that a bit later. Let's start off with a bit of news. Quiet week news-wise, but some good news. Argentinian prop Rodrigo Martinez has signed a new 2-year contract with the Dragons. So the 26-year-old will remain at Rodney Parade to bowl for the 1 jersey with Rhodri Jones and Wyn Jones, who is poised to arrive from Harlequins next season. The senior trio will be backed up by the up-and-coming duo of Dylan Keller-Griffiths and Jordan Morris. Interestingly, there's no mention of Josh Reynolds in this Argus article, so I'm not sure what the future holds of him. But I think it's good news because when you look at our loose-head options for next season, Martinez, Rhodri Jones, Wyn Jones, their experience, Dylan Keller-Griffiths is a prospect, and Jordan Morris. That's not a bad crop there, is it, of loose heads? I think that's pretty decent, don't you think?
And Dylan Keller-Lewis has played very well, hasn't he? Griffiths, sorry.
Griffiths,
he's played very well in the couple of games he played well against Ulster, wasn't he? And I thought he played well yesterday.
Yeah, good news. I think we went into this season with 2 senior tight heads and then not knowing about the youngsters, but Dylan's overtaken Reynolds by the looks. I think having 3 senior loose heads, it is really important. Gives us that bit of depth and stability, and hopefully players like Dylan can learn off these guys as well and learn off Wyn Jones and aid his development, because I thought he actually had a strong game yesterday as well.
Apart from the yellow card, which was a bit bad.
Yeah, it's a bit of a blight, yeah.
Yeah, but you are right. I think he's a really good prospect. I don't know about you guys, but Martinez is only 26. Did you think he was older? Because I did, for whatever reason.
I thought he was older in his 30s.
I thought he was like 29, 30. He's only 26.
Yeah, he's got his best popping years ahead of him.
I know, yeah.
It's, we'll have 2 in Rhodri and Wyn, the other side of 30, which is fine for props, no problem with it. And Martinez coming to a really good age. We've done well at loosehead.
I agree. Yeah, not bad at all. Is it? Not bad options for next season. Certainly better than what we got at the moment. So some good news to start off. Right, let's talk about Judgement Day then. Now, before we get into it, I got some shout outs to make. So shout outs to Sam and Rod from the Black Feather podcast. They're lovely people. And to be fair to them, they're always very kind about us. They give us a shout out almost every week on their pod. It hasn't gone unnoticed, Sam. I know you've been mentioning us. I do notice you, and I love you too. And I know you've been mentioning us. So yeah, thank you very much for that. We do really appreciate it, and it was nice to meet you both on Saturday. Wasn't for long, admittedly, but it was great to catch up with the pair of them. And then shout out to Phil Lewis, your mate Gav. Nice bloke. Good to meet him in person as well. Shout out to Nick from Rap and the Ospreys Evie podcast. Nice to meet him and his family, Rachel, Ellen, and Sean. Really nice people. Producer Lee was there, of course, and Hugh Griffin from the Saucepans and Side Steps podcast and Rewind. Alan, the Lions fan from the Rewind pod, and his Welsh missus. Lovely to meet you both as well. Apologies if I've forgotten anyone, but those are the ones that I can remember. Yeah, it's just really nice meeting up with everyone. That's what I like about Judgement Day. I just like the fact it's a social and you do get an opportunity to meet up with people, and you speak to them on Twitter all the time and Facebook, wherever, when you meet up for a pint as well, have a good chat. It's really, really good. So yeah, really, really good day meeting people. Now, before we talk about the actual game itself, there has been a big debate around the future of Judgement Day. So the attendance was only 28,328. The top tier was completely empty throughout. So for context, that's the lowest crowd for Judgement Day event at the Prince Party Stadium. The roof remained open, which I thought was strange, but apparently it was down to a technical fault, which is why it was open, because otherwise it just didn't make sense for the weather, why you keep it open. But I want to ask you two, what was your experience of Judgement Day this year compared to the last time? Let's start with you then, Gavin, because you travelled down from it, didn't you? And you went to last year's event at the CCS. How did this event stand up to you?
I thought this one was better as an experience, just because centre town, it didn't require a taxi journey and God knows where else to get there. And it was nice. Meeting up. It was a social thing, and met up with all those people, like you said. And I was sat with the guys from the Rewind pod as well, and that was, and there was some other fans around me, and it was nice just talking rugby with people I didn't really know. It was, it was a good experience for my son. He really enjoyed it. Got his Cardiff shirt signed by half the Cardiff squad as well, So I think that part of it, the kind of festival element of it, was really good.
Yeah.
The fact there was 28,000 people in there, and by the end of it, there were considerably less than 28,000 people, wasn't it? I think if there were 15,000 left in there at the end of our game, I'd be surprised. That felt a bit awkward, a bit rattling about.
Yeah, on the plus side though, no queues for bar.
No.
Barely any toilet queues. It was. No. I don't think I've ever been in the stadium for an event where it's been that quiet before. I've been to a lot of gigs there, rugby matches and stuff, but it felt very, very quiet. I don't think the atmosphere was particularly great either, if I'm honest. It would have been better, I think, if the roof had been closed. I do think it would add to the atmosphere a little bit, but I don't know. It's just in. I thought both games were of a poor standard, if I'm honest. I thought both games were particularly great. But yeah, I wasn't really
first game
blown
was
away
better,
by the
I thought.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, the first game was better. I think Cardiff, were the best side on show across 4 on that day.
Yeah, I expected a reaction from them, though, after the chaos. They are a team that seems to be able to bounce back from a crisis, don't they?
Yeah.
They are that kind of team. But yeah, so what about you then, Gareth? What did you make of Judgement Day this year?
Yeah, I mean, certainly a lot better than last year at the CS. I think that should definitely never happen again. It's just too far out the way. But yeah, it is great parts. It is great to see people. There is a bit of a buzz. It's an exciting day. Get the train down and all that. But yeah, it's just a lack of numbers. You don't get an atmosphere, which is a bit disappointing. I know they did try and group fans together, but it wasn't sort of condensed. And it's just those sort of numbers. It's an expensive day to go out in Cardiff, regardless of free tickets or cheap tickets. Going to Cardiff is an expensive day for people to take families. And is the product on the pitch good enough to warrant that sort of cost? It's just not. No. It's just not. The numbers we used to take down were a lot bigger for this day because we get a lot of sort of people tag on for the event. But now they're not really interested. So yeah, it's it's tough because it could be a great day and I do enjoy it, but you don't get any home advantage. I mean, we're the home team and the Scarlets score and they're blasting Scarlets tunes over the tannoy. I'm like, well, that wouldn't happen at Rodney Parade. Like, geeing up the crowd. So it's not really any sort of home advantage, even if you are meant to be the home team. And I guess whether it goes ahead or not moving forward is, do the numbers add up to, do we make enough money from it? Because that's what Welsh rugby needs. Did we make enough money from 28,000 people going? I I don't know. I don't know what that split looks like. But if we're better off having it as a home game, do that.
But that 28,000 is an indictment of where Welsh rugby is now. I don't think,
Yeah.
It was an expensive weekend for me, clearly, because I came up on the train, stayed in a hotel. But our experience was good, kind of. And I'll tell you what, I recommend having 45 minutes in a hot tub prior to going to watch rugby, because I was quite chilled. but, but I think Welsh rugby is the problem at the minute rather than Judgement Day. Whether I'd have it at that point of the season, I don't know. I'd have it at the start, possibly.
Yeah. Curtain raiser. Everyone's got something on it. You're going in with a bit of optimism. People have missed rugby. I mean, we're very dedicated Dragons fans, and we probably want the season to end.
Yep.
So, yeah, as a curtain raiser, you've got that optimism. Everyone's got something to play for. It's a great way to showcase rugby and start the season with a bang. I think that might guarantee a few more fans in, but yeah.
Yeah, imagine that first game of the season in September.
Yeah. It'd be a bit of a build-up, a bit of excitement. It'd be a good curtain opener, wouldn't it, to the season? Yeah, very weird how Scarlet's tries were accompanied by songs. I think we did have one or two, but all their tries were songs. And Yemo Heed, like you said, this is supposed to be a home game for us. You weren't near that blaring out of Rodney Parade, so that was all a bit weird. Also, as well, I got into City Centre about 12:30. It felt dead. It did not feel like a match day. And even when we walked into Tiny Rebel, very quiet. It got busy, obviously, later in the day, but it just felt there was no buzz. I didn't feel any
It was easy
atmosphere.
to get a beer everywhere, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Even after the game, I went with my lad. We went down Chippy Lane, and even that wasn't as chaotic as I've seen. Admittedly, it was like 8 o'clock, but I've seen Chippy Lane at 8 o'clock on a match day it looked like the aftermath of some kind of natural disaster, and it was it was just fairly quiet Cardiff Saturday.
We went into the City Arms, and on the way there, one of the boys like, "Oh, why are we going there? We're not going to get served. Like, it's going to take ages." We just walked straight to the bar. It's just, it's like, oh, like,
but all those bars, like on Matthew Street and stuff, which historically would be really, really busy, none of them were. Tiny Rebel wasn't super busy. City Arms wasn't. The ones further up the other end, towards the bus station weren't.
No, you're right.
So it doesn't make it feel like you've gone to a big event then, does it? So then the event goers probably won't return.
Because I don't know, like, if you guys felt as well. When I was walking through Cardiff back to my hotel, it just felt like a Saturday night in Cardiff. Not like when you go out on an international that a day, and Cardiff feels like something then, like kind
it's
of being
bumping, isn't it? All the pubs are busy. Everyone's outside drinking, smoking, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, being in Cardiff on an international day feels like something. That did not feel like something.
Yeah, you want to see everyone wearing one of four colours, don't you? Really, and you want that banter in the pubs. A bit of teasing, having a laugh. But it's just some people in the pub probably thought, "Oh, there's a couple of rugby tops about." Probably wondered what was going on.
People in my hotel were saying, "Well, why are you wearing those shirts when we were leaving?" But these were staff, so these are people who live in Cardiff. Like,
Dear me.
Yeah. So there is a big debate about the future of Judgement Day. How would you feel about it coming back next season? Well, do you think it should come back, or do you think that we should put a stop to it? Because I've seen a lot of people saying, well, look, I think this event has run its course now and it needs to be stopped because it's not pulling in the numbers like it used to, and all this sort of stuff. So I think for me personally, I've never minded Judgment Day, and I've always said it's a great opportunity to meet up with people, have a beer like we did. That's great. But I also have to be honest. If you said to me Judgment Day is not coming back next season, I'd be okay with that as well. I'm not going to lament the loss of Judgment Day, if I'm being honest. No, part of me thought yesterday, oh, I wish this game was at Rodney Parade. And I don't know if any other Dragons fans thought that, but I did. I sat in my seat at one point thinking, oh, if only this was at Rodney Parade, you know. But would you be happy if Judgment Day returned, or are you not bothered about it?
Yeah, for me, because I don't get many games, because it's it's £400-500 weekend for me to go watch Dragons. So I don't get to see many games. So for me, it's something to kind of plan for. But I really understand why, you guys wouldn't. I was talking to some Scarlets fans, and they were saying, well, they came down this year because they had some family down, and there was a thing, but they probably wouldn't bother, and it's an arse to get down, and.
Yeah. What about you then, Gareth? If I said to you that Judgment Day's not happening next season, how would you feel about it?
I wouldn't be disappointed because I much prefer a home game at Rodney Parade. But for me, if it did go ahead next season, I'd like them to say how much money we make if it's 30,000 tickets sold. Like, do the numbers actually stack up to warrant it? And I don't really know what else you can do to get more people to go. I feel like it was marketed well. We just need better quality on the pitch.
I think people are just pissed off with Welsh rugby as a product, aren't they? And it's not necessarily Dragons fans or anyone else. It's, talking to everyone yesterday, unhappy with the way the WRU was running things. The Welsh game in itself is in a bit of a fix. People don't want to do it, do they? People aren't interested in doing it. Where if we contrast it to soccer, I used to go watch Wales play soccer in the 90s when we were terrible, and you could get tickets easily. But now soccer tickets, you have to kill to get your hands on them because the product is better and the mood is up.
Yeah, one thing you mentioned there actually, Gav, as well, with people being pissed off with the WRU, and understandably, but I've seen I won't put my money in the WRU, I won't put my hand to the pot. The thing is, it's not the current WRU board that fucked Wales.
No.
So I certainly, over the last 7 or 8 years, didn't want to go to internationals because I felt the WRU aren't running the game properly in Wales. So I sort of voted with my feet, although still going to the Dragons. But now's not the time to boycott the WRU. Now's the time to try and get behind them, I feel, because it is a new board and they're trying to right some wrongs and head in the right direction. So I think people can get behind it.
There's a naivety there as well, I think, Gareth, because I saw someone saying, oh, well, I'm going to go to the Bristol-Gloucester game because I'm not going to give my money to the WRU. The WRU aren't giving Bristol the stadium for free.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that now.
Who do you think's making revenue for food and drink?
Yeah, it's not Bristol. It's the WRU,
Yes, I saw that post. Very, very silly, I must say.
Well, it's just naive, isn't it? Like the WRU were doing it because they'll make money out of it.
It's not good luck, though. I get what people are saying, mind. 28,000 for a regional showpiece, however you want to market it, all the other fluff, and then West Country Derby again. What's it? 45,000 tickets sold so far.
Yeah, I occasionally go to the big game the Harlequins have at Twickenham.
Yeah.
And they have 60,000. I went to Gloucester one a couple of years ago. There was 60,000 people there.
I mean, in terms of product on the pitch, I went with my brother, old man, and uncle to Gloucester v Bristol, and I mean the highlights reel off that. We've probably all seen Thomas Williams' no look pass.
Oh yeah, that was a great game.
It was absolutely, the product on the pitch was fantastic. They were actually better things. We do some things better, and I don't mind saying that the famous shed, it was packed out. It wasn't a patch on the Rodney Parade Terrace for noise and songs. But there were things that they do a lot better than us as well that we could learn from.
I don't know if you've ever been to the Stoop. No. Honestly, it's just so well organised there. Getting food is well organised, getting drink is well organised, the seats are good.
Well, when we walked into, we were out having a couple of beers. We couldn't get to the stand without walking past a couple of places to buy food and drink. If I go to Rodney Parade, I can go in through the one gate, go all the way down to where I stand on the terrace without passing somewhere to buy a beer. And we're the type that we'll just stand on the terrace. But if we pass a beer, we'll go, oh, we might as well get one because we can't say no. So there's simple things really, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Lessons to be learned, I think, isn't there?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you for that, gents. Let's talk about the game itself then. Dragons 23, Scarts 31. A scoreline which, in my opinion, doesn't really reflect the efforts of the Dragons and probably flatters the Scarlets a little. Somehow, though, the Dragons found themselves leading at halftime, having soaked up a lot of pressure, especially in those first 20 minutes. They were hammering away at us in the 22, didn't they? Fair play. At one point, Dragons were 27 points up in the second half, and we were leading 23-21 with just 9 minutes left. But as we all know, the Dragons have no idea how to close out a game due to the weak mentality and lack of experience in the squad. I'm afraid it was the same old story. We've seen this game many, many times before as Dragons fans, where we're in the lead. We know we could and should win, but we don't. We let it slip every time. We've seen it all before. Let's come to you then, Gareth, first. What was your thoughts on Saturday?
I wouldn't really say disappointed because I never expected us to win. And even when we're 20 to 7 up, I still didn't expect us to win. So I wasn't heartbroken, even though I probably should have been. We did a lot right. You touched on how well we defended, especially in that first period. The Scarlets had sustained pressure and we did defend the line well. I watched the game back today and I feel like to try and win a game, we're doing a lot right. We're getting our best players on the ball. We make sure Aaron Wainwright basically carries himself to death. I mean, he was absolutely outstanding. Tim Basham was getting us over the gain line. We played to a structure to get our best players on the ball. That's good. We tried to add a bit of depth to our attack to try and get around the Scarlets. At times it worked. But I did notice we seemed to just play from one touchline all the way over to the other and back again. So it means our forwards are going to have to work so hard every time to get around the corner. And if they're not winning that race around the corner against the Scarlets, you're not going to win the collision. And it's slow ball and we just persist. We then become predictable to defend against. And many times we went through those phases and we end up being turned over. I would like to see us occasionally go down the short side and just keep the opposition second guessing. And also it makes it easier for our forwards. They're not having to work around and win that race. You just stay on the short side after like a line out, etc., and just hit it up again. And then you can go to width. So I think we can be a lot smarter in our attack. Again, you can't fault the effort. I think some of the players putting really good individual performance. I know I mentioned Wainwright, but there was a lot of good stuff. I thought Scott Williams actually added a bit of punch in midfield. So that was really good. And Nyron Owen, I think, is always very good, although he's definitely not a 13 for me.
No.
Angus's distribution. We weren't throwing passes on the floor, which should be a given, but some of his distribution was good, and his pass for Ross's try was gorgeous. If that's Finn Russell, that's getting played all over the internet all the time.
Agreed.
But then he's also kicking out on the full. After we won a turnover, he also then put a penalty dead, and his kicking at goal was poor. We've said it time and time again. We can't miss kicks at goal if we're going to win games. They weren't always easy kicks, but frustrating. And it's worrying that I wasn't that disappointed that we lost, because you should be gutted walking away from a game like that and not winning. So that's a bit concerning. That it's just part of the culture.
I was disappointed, see. I was disappointed because I felt we should have won that game. We had a very average Scarlets team on the ropes, at 27 points up, 20 to 7. We should have closed our game out.
Did you think we would at that point?
I'll come on to that a bit later. I will come on to that a bit later. I got a story around that. You mentioned Aaron Wainwright. I thought he was fantastic. He made more carries than any other player at Judgement Day. 18. 18 carries he made. Kieran Williams, Morgan Morse both made 16. James Ratty made 15. So out of everyone at Judgement Day, Aaron Wainwright was top carrier.
Wow.
And I thought he carried very well. It's a shame about the knock-on at the end. I thought you knew it was game over then when you knocked it on. We
Yeah.
were never going to get another opportunity. But I thought you worked very, very hard for a little reward.
He gives everything, doesn't he? Every time. We're lucky that he stayed. He's top class.
Yeah. I don't know how you'll stay though when his contract ends. I don't think any of us could blame him if he does eventually.
No way. He deserves to be winning games.
He'll go to France, I imagine.
Yeah, just don't go to Cardiff. Don't do that, Aaron. Just get out to Welsh rugby. Go to England. Go to France. Make a killing. Win some trophies. Not a stupid hubcap with stickers on. A proper trophy. Just do that, Aaron, please, if you're going to leave. Right, Gavin, your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I think I'm there with Gareth up to a point. I think we played well for about 48 minutes, and for 32 minutes it was a very, very, very poor game. But the attacking shape was interesting because we were looking to get wide. Sometimes I felt we were going far too early. Wide there were a couple of times. And I agree, Angus, I thought had a good game distribution-wise, but a couple of times we've done a miss too, with no collisions in midfield. And Ashton just got lined up a couple of times because, the defence hadn't moved. I thought the scrummage. I've seen some comments saying the scrummage was good. I'm not convinced it was good, but it was competitive, and I'll take that. I'll hold that. I was really impressed with Tane. I was really impressed with Aaron because they just got over the game line a lot. I think and we'll touch on you and Rosser, I imagine. I agree with you. I think we were talking off pod. I think you and Rosser had a good game. Where I was disappointed was where he's knocked on at the end. That happened, those little Willie LaRue style chips over the top. I think there'd been 4 or 5 of them, and we weren't positioned right to deal with them. Now that's forgivable the first time. But by the third time, if you're not like, we need to drop shorter so they're not running into space, then that's not really forgivable for me. Why isn't someone saying, right, just drop shorter, one of you back three, just drop a bit shorter, so if they do kick into it, they're not running into space.
Yeah, but this is where I think Scarlett did their homework, in fairness to him, because it was working for Gav Davis. He did it several times and he got a lot of trial with it. I think they looked back. I don't know this for certain, but this has happened before with us. I remember when we played Cardiff last season, Tina Stabia and Ronnie Parade did exactly the same thing. Those little ding kicks over the top. We'd either knock on or they'd gather possession. We did not know how to handle it. And I just wonder if they looked at that game or they've done their homework on us and go, right, this is what we're going to do. Because we just looked very uncomfortable. Every time Gav Davis did that little dink over the top, we looked very uncomfortable. We didn't know how to deal with it. And I do feel for you and Rosser because I actually thought he had a really good game. He put a tremendous try-saving tackle on Joe Roberts, I think it was. His kicking out of hand was good. He was pacey. He made 1 or 2 line breaks. But when he made that error, it was cruel in some ways because he didn't deserve that. It was clever from Gav Davis, but it was also cruel on you and Rosser because I don't think he deserved that. But that's the moment that killed the game, really, wasn't it? You knew then that we ain't coming back from this.
But what you said, about they've done their homework. If you look at our kick defence, and it's not just in this game, so if the opposition have the ball in kind of on the halfway line around there, our back three is all back in a flat line. If you watch some of the English clubs, they'll have somebody. It's not always fullback. Sometimes it's the winger, wherever the ball is. They'll have somebody in the middle just to pick up those shorter kicks. And we don't do that. I've never seen us do that. I've never operate that kind of front sweep kind of position to pick those kicks up. And I get that if that's not what you do. But if in a game the team's doing it all the time, well, deal with it. Yeah.
No, that's right. Let's talk about the ref for a minute, right? And this is very unusual territory for me because I don't normally criticize referees. I don't do it on this podcast, as you know, and I don't do it on the Rat Pod either. But I came away from that game very annoyed at the referee. Having watched the game back now, I hold my hands up. I don't think she was as bad as what I thought she was at the time, but I still don't think she was very good. I thought she was very whistle happy and she lacked control at times. She didn't really let the game flow. There were confusion at times, too much dithering and referrals to TMO. I felt the Scarlets got the rub of the green, particularly in that second half. And some of the decisions as well, like that penalty in the 4th minute against Scott Williams. So Tom Rogers does a chip and chase, basically climbs all over Scott Williams, falls to the ground like a footballer, and he penalty Scarlets. I just thought that was an absolute joke. And then in the 30th minute, I think it was, or 35th minute, we were building really good pressure in the Scarlets 22, and then she gets in the way of Rodri's pass. And
that happened twice.
And it was really, and you could see the frustration on Rodri's face because it was a really critical point in the game as well. That could have been a try, and she got in the way. And okay, she held her hands up, and referees do it, but I thought that was a big moment. And everyone's asking why Elliot D got sent off for. So apparently the scrub on the mall did collapse, didn't there? Yeah. I'm not entirely convinced that was Elliot D's fault, mind.
It wasn't Elliot's fault. Well, I don't know if it was Elliot's fault or not. I think what's happened there, from a refereeing point of view, in a situation like that's been collapsed. It's not gone over because Scarlets have lost control of the mall. So someone's got to go.
I'm not sure it should have been Elliot, though, when I watched it back.
But in those situations, you just pick someone.
Well, she showed the yellow cards when I know him first, didn't she? And he was just studying, going, "What? Me?"
Well, because I've seen it. Admittedly, I'm not comparing like for like, but like at the level I play at, in a situation like that, ref will send off the captain.
Yeah. Did you see there was one point in the game, Scarlets won a penalty, Elliot D walked out and said, "What was that for?" And she just walked off. Didn't even explain.
Yeah, I noticed that when I watched it back.
It's little things like that. This is why I'm not happy with her performance. Like, don't get me wrong, we haven't lost because of the referee. I'm not saying that, but there were little parts of her performance I just really wasn't happy with. And she relied on Gwyn Morris, the assistant ref, an awful lot, didn't she? She was constantly talking to him all the time. And I'm thinking, well, if you have to constantly rely on your assistant and you're going to the TMO for so many of your decisions, then I don't think you have control of the game. If you can't make a decision that's based in what's in front of you, then for me, you've lost control. And it was just 2-stop-start. And for me, she just killed the flow. I thought she was very nitpicking a lot of things. And I'm not saying like we lost the game because of her. And I hate bashing referees. Like I said, I very rarely do it. But I thought she was very annoying, this ref, and she did not give us the rub of the green at all.
Because there was a couple of decisions where she's gone to the video ref. I thought, why are you doing that? I think it was Scarlett's first try that was disallowed. I think it was for feet that was gone literally over the top of the rack.
Lousy, I thought.
It was lousy, yeah. I was a long way. It was the other end of the pitch to where I was. And he's gone over to put it. If I can see it, I can see he's gone over the rack from the other end of the stadium in the middle tier, I'm not sure why the referee who is stood next to the rack needs to go to the video thing in that situation.
Yeah.
But the on-field decision there was try.
Yeah, she did give on-field decision try. That's right. But I saw I had a very good view of it, and you could see that
did slow the game down though. Like watching it live, you're thinking, "What's going on?" Because you don't know what's being said with the going to the fourth official. But then watching it back, I'm like, why is she checking so much stuff? Get on with the game. There is a duty to make it like a flowing game of rugby for the spectator.
I don't think the standard of rugby of refereeing in the URC is very good. I don't think it's very good in the Premiership either, if I'm honest. But kind of. But then I don't want to go down the Super Rugby thing of just it's only a knock on if it's gone 30 foot in front of you.
Yeah, there's letting the game flow and then it's just not doing anything.
Yeah, then there's playing basketball. But I kind of, and even the top referees in the URC aren't great, are they?
No.
There's it was the Italian guy. I was having a conversation with him.
Pinardi.
Yeah, Pinardi with him about Hugh Griffin. And I think he's genuinely like he's mind-bogglingly poor, but he's getting internationals.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But with a ref like Amy Barfero, no, I think with her, once you get on the wrong side of her, that's it. You've lost her. And she's very hard to get back on side. But like, I'm not saying she's a terrible ref or a bad ref,
No.
or she was out of her depth or anything like that. But I did not like how she refereed this game. Too stop start, too many refers to TMO, too nitpicky. Just killed the flow, killed the momentum. And for a showcase game like this, Judgment Day, big event, you don't want refs like that. You don't want refs like that. You don't want a ref going to the TMO every bloody 8 minutes. And then everyone, like, in the stadium asking, well, what's that for then? Because there was a couple of moments where we were like, well, was she going to the TMO? And some of the Dragons players were confused as well. There was one point where nobody seemed to know what was going on. So it was just moments like that. I thought, oh, yeah, we struggle with refs like that, don't we? We do struggle with those refs who are going to nitpick at every little bloody thing.
I thought the quality refereeing was poor both games, so.
They had a young ref, didn't they, in the first game, Ospreys Cardiff. It was actually Sean Connor's boy.
Really?
He used to play for Dragons and Ospreys. Yeah, it's his boy. He's a referee.
Yeah, I think that wasn't stop-starty. That was just a bit more. There wasn't enough control at times during that game, but
yeah,
it was a more entertaining game to watch. So
yeah, probably. So after the game, me and Dad get on the train home, and who should we bump into? Friend of the pod and Dragons co-owner David Buttress. And he had a big bag of M&S sandwiches, and he was handing it. We didn't get a sandwich, but his family did. But we had a chat.
People.
Man of the people, yeah, yeah, absolutely. So we had a very interesting chat, and I'm not going to say everything that was said on this pod because I do think some things need to be kept off pod. But he had the same frustrations as us, with some of the refereeing decisions. He was annoyed with some of our decision making. One of the things he said, though, which was really interesting. So he said to me, when we were 27 up, I said to my kids, we'll still lose this. I told them we'll still lose. And we did. And I knew we would because that's where we are. And then I said to him, so David, as a co-owner then, how do we address that? How do we address this mentality? Because one of the other things he said was we lack the top 2 inches. He was very honest, David. He knows the stuff we say on this pod, when you speak to him, it's exactly the same. So I said, how do we address it? And he said, we need to get better people in the building. We need to do a strong recruitment. So I just thought it was very interesting that even he thinks that. We fought it as fans in the stadium. Did any of you think that when we were 20 points to 7 up, did any of you think we were going to go on to win it?
Well, I had a moment of weakness.
Oh, Gavin, what's the matter with you? You should know by now.
So and Phil Lewis was behind me. He goes, "You might win this," and I almost said, "Yeah, I think we might." I went, "No," but there was a brief second where I almost said, "Yeah, I think we might." I think if we'd managed to stop that momentum shift that happened almost immediately after the third try, maybe, but
Right. Gareth, did you think at any point, even when we were 20 points to 7 up, did you think we'd go on to win it? And be honest, if you think we did.
No, genuinely I didn't. And it was almost, enjoy the moment sort of thing because we know it won't last long. Which if Buttress is saying that and he is the top of the Dragons and we're the fans and we're thinking the same, surely those in the middle, i.e. the players, are thinking that as well. Are they thinking, we're not holding on to this? It's just so frustrating because, you just know. Like we've done it too many times this season. We've put ourselves in good positions and not seen the game out.
If you compare us then with Cardiff, right? So Ospreys have got a momentum. They're 3 points behind. There's 4 minutes to go. Cardiff go up the other end of the field, score a try, then score another try. Yeah, they didn't look bowed or defeated. And you look at us, and last 10 minutes, I just couldn't see us coming back into it because I don't know what it is. Well, yeah, and we've talked about this, and you've said it, Jamie, many a time. Somebody needs to sit down with them and go, right, we need to fix this because this is a problem.
And if we say we need better people in the building, I am pleased with the players we've signed for next season and are rumoured to sign. But are they good enough to turn these losses into wins? Are they going to be enough, or are they going to get dragged into the Dragons' mindset?
My issue with the recruitment is, and I know you have to tighten the front five. I get all of that. You have to improve that. But we haven't employed anyone in a decision-making position where I go, yeah, that's good. Yeah, Tina's to be is fine. But I'm not. We need thinkers. We need leaders. We need people who are just. Scott Williams did that role for us really well yesterday. He gave us structure. He gave us shape. He just ran out the legs, and I know he got injured, but he was running out the legs anyway.
He was impressive, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I was very impressed with Scott Williams. Don't forget he's 34 now. I mean, at one point he was packing down in the scrum. He was
Yes.
on he was on the open side flank at one point. I thought he had an excellent game, and it does go back to what I was saying for a while. Why haven't we used him more this season? We've clearly got a hole in the midfield, haven't we? We've struggled with our centres, someone to partner an eye in. Why haven't we used him more? A guy with that much knowledge and experience and leadership. How many times do we say on this pod that we're lacking leaders?
Yeah.
Well, you got one right there. This guy has been there, done that, Welsh International. He's still a good player. I know he's got injury issues, but I thought he was fantastic.
He's won 3 Six Nation championships. Like, the bloke is a proven winner.
But that's what kids need. The youngsters, that's a guy for them to look up to, isn't it? And learn from. But the point I was making with Dave Butcher as well. So if he thought that we were going to lose, and he's told his kids that, and if we thought that as supporters in the stadium, is that what the players are thinking as well then on the pitch? You go wonder these things, haven't you?
Yeah, there are teams who don't know when they're beaten. And there are teams who know they beat them far too soon, and we're one of those teams. And it's endemic within the team, and you need guys who are going to change that thinking. And I don't think props are the people that do that. We need some key guys in those decision-making places, 9, 10, 15, 12, who are going to be there saying, right, we've got this, we can sort out. Who would have sorted out yesterday, gone, no, you need to come up shorter. You need to fill that space. That's what we lacked yesterday.
Yeah, I agree. But I just think it's very telling when the co-owner says, yeah, we like the top 2 inches. And it's what we have been saying on the pod as well, a lot of fans.
It's pretty worrying, isn't it?
But he's right though, isn't he? I keep saying it. We are a mentally weak side.
He is, and I know David listens, but he's got to take some responsibility in that. And can David,
in what sense, Gav? What more would you like to see
saying we need to get better people in the building? Well, do it then, mate. Kind of now's your opportunity to do that. And strengthening the type 5 is great, but bring those leaders in, bring those people with that winning mentality in the coaching team as well. That's really going to have the impact. Because every one of us on this pod and everyone listening wants us to do well.
Yeah. Exactly. There's no one in that 23 yesterday that hasn't been either signed or retained under Buttress's leadership, and he's ultimately got the sign-off. So that is a bit concerning. I don't know why we don't get a sports psychologist. I think we're screaming out for one. I know it was brought up at the Q&A with David Wright.
Yep. He did say he's thought about it.
He's thought about it. Don't think about it. Do it.
Yeah, do it then, Dave.
And if people go, oh no, I think we don't need it. We're doing our best. No, we do. We clearly do. And also, if it is we're unsure, well, let's do it then. Let's not risk it.
What's the worst that could happen?
Exactly.
There are sports psychologists working for Welsh sports teams, for football teams, for Glamorgan cricket, within British athletics. There's a pile of them all up at Bath University for Sport UK. Loads of sports psychologists. My mate Dave Thomas works for Sport UK. Loads of sports psychologists up there. Just get in touch with one of them.
Yeah.
What's the worst that can happen?
One thing though, and it's so annoying to always use it as perspective, but we and have been smashed by injuries.
Oh yeah.
Also had a massive impact.
Like
16 players unavailable for this game as well. I mean, that was very much a mix and match team, wasn't it? Like when we saw the team sheet, we were like, okay, there's some interesting selections in there, interesting combinations. None of us thought Scott Williams was going to start at 12. Nobody saw that coming at all.
I actually believe we performed more than our sum of our parts for a change, because that side on paper I was not confident with.
There were some weird choices in there as well. You know, kind of Paulo Latu, he came off after 35 minutes anyway, didn't he? Like, you know,
that was injury, I'm guessing, is it?
I don't think so. I think that was tactical, wasn't it?
Was that? You sure? I'm not sure. I know he came off early, but
he came off sprightly enough, but then, you know.
Okay.
I might be wrong. Won't be the first time.
So I've asked our listeners to send in their comments for mailbox feature. We do it every now and again just to give the supporters a voice. So this is what they've been saying. Lee Holmes says, I don't think we got the rub of the decisions. There is a lot of talk about the ref in these comments. Like I said, I don't want to be that guy blaming the ref. But yeah, I do agree some of the decisions. We didn't get the rub of the green. But I'm not, you know, I'm not saying no.
It wouldn't have won it for us, no. I don't think, either way, you know.
No, Alid says, taking the result out of it, refereeing was awful. Rosters were electric. Nice to see Big Ben back. We have really missed him. Yeah, I agree. I thought Ben Card was really good on his return, wasn't he?
Quality player.
What else does he say? I haven't vetted these before reading them out. I'm literally just seeing them now and scrolling. So he says, apart from that, I think we need a sergeant major next year, as well as coaches. Discipline cost us again. The game was there to be won. It was a very poor performance from a decent Scarts lineup. I don't think Scarts are very good. I really don't. I think when you looked at two teams, I thought they were going to blow us away. If I was a Scarlet fan, I wouldn't get carried away with this performance. Yeah, you got your 5 points, but you got Leinster next, you're going to South Africa next. You need to wise up pretty quickly.
Hugh Griffin said to me, he said, we have to win this game because I don't know what we'll get out of our next 3 games. It's interesting, the discipline thing. I agree up to a point, but some of the discipline stuff, some of it was for offside. And it's just difficult to manage offside, and you know, kind of you're trying to get that extra couple of inches. So the discipline thing, some of this, like Dylan's, was a bit daft, and that, but offside sometimes is, you know, you can't manage it. Yeah,
no, I agree. Ian Coombs gets in touch, says discipline killing us, and we desperately need a reliable goal kicker. You just said that, Gav. There, he says, "I'll be back next season." That's the spirit. It's tough, but we need people to be back, don't we?
We do.
We must have the most loyal fans out of any Welsh region, mind. Fair play, I think we do. I don't think the other fans would stick around with this. We put up with too much, don't we? In fairness, we put up with a lot. We're very, very loyal. Don't you think?
Yeah, I think a lot of other clubs would be kicking up a bigger fuss. There's just nothing else to do in Newport, is there?
But then you look at the Ospreys, who are considerably better than us, and they got much lower average attendance than we have, and we never win. And they're much better than us.
And we still generate a good atmosphere. Like I said, it's better on our terrace than it is in the shed in Gloucester. And look at the rugby they're playing.
Yeah. Paul Shepherd says Basham was very, very good. Yeah, he was. I thought Basham was good. Tristan said referee was terrible, but what's worse is Rodri's decision making at times is absolutely terrible. He had a stinking first 20 minutes, mate, didn't he?
He really did.
Did you see when he slipped in the 22? And you're thinking, just kick the bloody ball off, and then he beat. Who did he go past? He did beat someone. I can't remember his Blair Murray or someone. You're thinking, oh, okay, and then he bloody slips, and it's like, oh Jesus, yeah. He's been a bit off the boil past couple of games. I don't think he was awful against Edinburgh. Really, really bad against Edinburgh. But he had a difficult start, but he did grow into it a little more.
When Dane came on, it didn't feel like a downshift. Sometimes when Dane comes on, it does feel like a downgrade, and it didn't feel like a downgrade in yesterday.
Did our 2 young nines play in the Super Rugby Academy this weekend? Yeah,
they did. Yeah,
I like the look of both of them. I'd like to see that one of them on the bench in the next couple of games.
I can't remember what I was saying at the game yesterday. I was saying, like, in kind of, I think Dane Black's contract is expiring. You know these things, Jamie. Dane's contract is expiring end of this season, doesn't it?
I believe so. I don't believe he'd be sticking around now.
No. You know, and I think because we've got Shea Hope and we've got Morgan Lloyd, haven't we? So
Yeah.
Unless we're trying to protect them by not putting them in, because we're not confident with the squad. But I'd just get them in.
We've not protected anyone else, so have you? Because if you look at when you look at like the SRC teams being put up and say, "Oh, how many dragons?" And like there's people I'm like, "Ooh, did he? Okay." There's loads of them.
That just reminds me. Can we just address something? We say we lack experience to close out games. Why on earth is Steve Cummins farmed out to play for Pontypool? He was bigged up as a sign-in, had an experience, exactly what we need, a leader on the pitch, a big second row. So why was he not on the bench for us if he's fit? It just baffled me. That is not down to injuries then. It's just poor selection.
So this is where Philo needs to come under a bit of scrutiny with his team selections. Because I remember when we did this pod, Gav, and when we were playing Montpellier, and you was very critical of the team selection, wasn't you? He was like, why are we making so many changes? Now, that was a missed opportunity. We put out a youth team against Newcastle. Again, yeah, we got a win, fine, but we did not go as strong as we could have and should have done in the European Cup, because a European run, that gives fans something to look forward to. A knockout game of Rodney Parade would have given us long-suffering fans something to look forward to,
Yeah.
wouldn't it? And I felt you got his team selections wrong in the Challenge Cup. That was brought up in the Q&A, and I got the impression from the boards that they weren't particularly, because I think Blumberg said, well, you'll have to speak to Philo about that. We'll try and get him in. And I'm starting to question a lot of Philo selections, and I don't understand why Steve Cummins, with his experience, you would have thought he'd be playing against his former teammates, wouldn't you? Like Scott Williams did. Scott Williams has barely played for us. He's made a couple of appearances off the bench, and he's starting at 12. And don't get me wrong, it worked. He was great, but you are right. He should have been in our match day 23.
He's the profile of the player that we needed. It's just, Philo's decision-making at the moment leaves a lot to be desired.
It makes very little sense to me some of the time. And, kind of, I said a slightly more flippant comment to you guys in our group chat about the decision making. But, I don't get it.
If he had picked Nick Thomas, I know he's injured, but on the bench, you think, okay, he's looking to the future, give him the experience of playing in the stadium. But he didn't. It wasn't that sort of pick anyway. So
it's Barney Langton Cryer, who,
he's mid-20s, isn't he?
And he's not going to pull up any trees, is he? We know exactly what Barney Langton Cryer can do, and he's not going to pull up any. He's perfectly fine, but he's not going to pull up any trees. And it's not just our decision. All the way through this season, I don't get it. I don't understand these decisions.
No, I think it's fair. And like I said, I think Philo needs to come in a bit more scrutiny with some of these selections, because it's a bit weird, isn't it?
Come on the pod, Philo.
Absolutely, let's have a chat about it. Stuart got in touch. He said, when I saw the ref, I thought, oh no, here we go again. But I thought we played a better rugby. Too many penalties is the Achilles heel. Yeah, Kevin said concentration fell off in the last 10 minutes. Yeah, I agree with that. Dino gets in touch. He's talking about sports psychologist as well. So yeah, it's a fair point though. We've just talked about it.
He's absolutely right. I saw that comment earlier, and I said no.
You said another game that got away from the Dragons need to bring in a sports psychologist. Dino's actually talking some sense for a change. I don't know what's going on. He banged his head or what, but
more sense than he was talking when I bumped into him yesterday.
Oh dear. Well, let's not go into that then. What else have we got here? Clive, let's be honest, we played pretty well. I don't know where the ref got some of her decisions from, though. She's not up to this standard. It was no better in the previous game. I know it's easy to blame a ref, but sometimes it's justified. Yeah, I wasn't happy with the ref, but I don't think she was that bad on reflection. But some of her decisions and the constant bloody TMO referral and stop starting really did get on my tits, I have to be honest. What else have we got here? Berwin said, I thought they played well, a lot more determination and confidence. Shame the game got away from him in the last 10 minutes. Delmy says, great choice on Ross. It just goes to show what we have in the back line when the ball flows. Good scrum, line out good, must get the killer instinct to win. See, I don't agree with this comment here. He says, disappointing performance from Ashton Hewitt. I disagree. I thought that was Ashton's best performance since he's returned from injury.
You know what? Agreed. I really like Ashton, bit of a Dragons legend, but he's probably not hit the heights since he's come back that he's he was at previously.
He
But yeah, I
got
thought he
bad.
had a good game.
He got badly exposed for Peter's try, but that wasn't his fault. The defence didn't shuffle out.
Yeah.
And you can't expect a winger to deal with a rampaging back rower out in those wide channels.
That's a bit of a mismatch, isn't it?
But that was a defensive issue, Rod, which we defended well in the wider channels, which earlier in the game, Scarlett, didn't particularly defend well in those wider channels.
Yeah, he looked good. He looked sharp.
Mal Kelleher Griffiths. I wonder if there's any relation to Dylan. Dad, uncle.
I'm going to guess. So, yeah.
Dad, uncle. Yeah. He says, I definitely saw some improvements with line speed and defences working and communication as one unit. We all know how the season has been, although with the signings that we have already confirmed, I will say that we are up for at least 7 to 8 wins minimum. That's very optimistic, Mal. Very optimistic. We are a strong and young side of our senior academy boys breaking through, as you saw yesterday. Woody, Dylan Keller-Griffiths, and Joe Westwood made differences in key areas on the field. One thing I picked up yesterday, he says, was the fact that even though we lost the game in the last 10 minutes, it wasn't due to fitness. It was management in those areas. We looked much fitter than the Scards. So another thing as well with Buttress, when he was talking on the train, there was some Dragons fans on there, and one of them said, "Oh, we're not fit enough. We don't look fit enough." And Davis said, "No, I disagree with that. He debunked our idea that we're not fit. He said it's nothing to do with fitness. He said it's mentality. He said it's upstairs." Do we agree?
Yeah, didn't.
Yeah, no, it's not. That wasn't fitness yesterday. That was just that was lack of leadership once again, and just not having the skills to close out games.
Scarlets aren't good enough to take us to the well. We weren't knackered playing them. They're not that good a side.
I thought they were poor.
Yeah.
There was a guy sat next to me, I think he was an Osprey fan, and he said, well, if you're arguing for 4 regions, this would not be the game to show them.
Yeah, a bit concerning. It's definitely mentality, isn't it? It is.
Yeah, absolutely. Mark Seymour gets in touch. I think AOB's game management led to a much improved performance. Good to have him back. He does make a difference at 10. He's developed into a quality 10. Yeah, agreed. What else have we got here? I won't do too many now. Daniel says better, but still too many silly penalties, basic errors. Rodri was poor for most of the first half. Yeah, he wasn't very good in the first 20 minutes at least. Matthew Jarvis says thrown away again, unfortunately. Yeah. No, Kevin, I'm not reading that out. No, that's a comment. Because no. That's not nice. Nathan says, chucked it away, let's be honest. Lots of us will have opinions. Why? That's 1 win for Tia in the league. No, is it? No, it's not. That's 1 win for Tia, 0 in the league. Sorry, yeah, so he's right. So we won a game in Europe, didn't we? He hasn't won any league. So, yeah, sorry, that's my fault. That's 1 win for Tia, 0 in the league. We set the precedent with Dave Flanagan, which should mean he's given no excuses first block next season. Also, why are we sending experienced overseas players like Cummins to play in Super Rugby Cymru? What does that achieve? Well, yeah, we just spoke about that. So this is interesting. So what happens next season? And if we don't win any games in our first block or we win just one, do the board sack Philo like they did with Dai?
They won't.
But Nathan has said, though, they've set a precedent, haven't they? Like, Philo has won just 1 game all season, 0 in the league. So,
and Dai, I felt, had the backing of the players and the fans in the majority. I'm not sure Philo has.
I think.
I don't think.
Yeah. I think belonging is important in sport, isn't it? And I know Philo is loved. Kind of the minute you get west of Bridgend, that he's loved. Rose petals in front of him as he walks, kind of stuff. But he hasn't got a relationship with us. So what we need from him is to see an improvement in performance. And then we'll build our relationship with him, but we haven't seen that. If we was, at least with Dai, he was, he's from here.
Yeah, absolutely.
I spoke with a passion, didn't he?
Yeah, well, and it's not that Philo's a New Zealander. He's not from Gwent, He's West Walian in my head, Philo, kind of where's...
Yeah.
With Dai's a Gwent lad and understood it. And the results weren't good enough, but...
I don't care where the coach is from. I just want a winning team. I really couldn't give two hoots whether he's from Gwent or not. Just coach us to wins.
But we'd all be behind Philo, wouldn't we, if it improved performances? we'd all forget
Yeah.
exactly, like with Di, I
100%.
think Di got a bit of leeway because he's from Gwent.
Oh, I see the point you're making.
Yeah,
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, you're
yeah,
right. I agree.
I
Yeah.
think Di got leeway because he's from Gwent, and we all thought, he's one of us. Whereas with Philo, he hasn't got that leeway because his background is with Ospreys. So what we need from Philo for us to grow that relationship with him is just improve performances.
Yeah, fair enough. Anything else from that game now before we move on? Any other points you want to make or anything else? No?
All good.
Okay, brilliant. We'll move on then. So if you want a shout out on the pod, leave us a 5-star review and we'll give you a mention. Has to be 5 stars. And if you haven't done so already, don't forget to subscribe on the Rap YouTube channel and tell your Dragons mates about us, as well as it all helps to grow the pod. Okay, it's time for our Gwent Rugby Roundup. Gavin, what's the latest?
Well, not lots of rugby played over the weekend, but a fair few. So the SRC, where, in the words of Ricky Gervais in The Office, that's the real quiz, because that's where Gwent Rugby is dominating. So Carmarthen 21, Newport 56. Newport really hitting some form just as we come up to the playoffs. Ebervale 21, Swansea 17. Pontypool 47, Cardiff 27. Really impressive performance there. Into the Premiership, less good for Gwent. Merthyr 64, Newbridge 21, and Narberth 29, Cross Keys 17. Championship, a mixed day for our clubs. Bedwas 56, Brimwell 5. Cambrian Welfare 31, Penaltha 45, good away win for Penaltha. Talawine 34, Aberdare 23, and your boys Annisty, not a good day for them. Annisty 0, Beddau 61.
Right, you know when Tubby says we don't care anymore about losing 78, we get it now, Jace. We've seen the results and we understand what you mean. We know you don't care.
I reckon though, like it's not nice being on the end of those results, is it?
No, it's not. No.
That's yeah, they're all gonna have a beer and stuff, but beer tastes better if you've won.
Yeah.
In the Division 1, Bedlinog 19, Ablairi Blaenau Gwent 28, a good result there. Division 2, Abercorn 21, Pill Harriers 17. Caldicot 32, Cwmbran 43. Lots of defences not on top at that game. Division 3, Chepstow 57, Abertwysog 7. Two very different towns in Gwent there, Chepstow and Abertwysog. Division 4, Crickhowell 27, Whitehead 27. Crumlin 36, Bedwellty 7. Llanillough 21, Gwynafyd 57. Gwynafyd doing very well in that league. But yeah, I think part of it, because long way away, it's up in mid Wales, isn't it? So I think it's a bit of a long journey sometimes. But it's a good away win for Gwynafyd. RTB Ebervale 80, Pontland Fife 17. Good win at the welfare there for RTB. Into Division 5, Hollybush 14, Abersychan 19, and Mago 28, both at 14. And Division 6A, 6A Girlin 11, Trinant 69, and Division 6B, St. Julian's High School All Boys 50, Sully Sports 19.
Lovely stuff. Is that it, Gav?
Yep.
Good. Let's move on to Saturday then. So, I wish the season would come to an end, to be honest. I really would prefer if this season just came to an end right now. But no, we still got 3 more games to go. And on Saturday, it's another Welsh derby, this time against the Ospreys away. So, pop quiz for the pair of you. When was the last time Dragons beat Ospreys away from home? What year was it?
I'm rubbish at this.
I know. Gareth, any ideas? Gareth might not know. When was the last time Dragons beat Ospreys away?
I mean, I know we got a terrible record down there. A game sticks out in my head when Faletau really announced himself on the scene back in like 2011 or something. Surely it's not that long though. We must have won since then. Because we beat them. Did we beat them in Bridgend? Since then.
Oh, he's warm. Yeah.
I'm gonna go 2011, but yeah, I'm not. I'm hoping it's a lot more recent than that.
I'm going to say 2016.
Right. So the last time Dragons beat Ospreys away was March 2021 because the game was in Bridgend due to COVID. It was Ospreys 20, Dragons 31. Wainwright scored 2 tries from your favourite, Gav, Jonah Holmes, and Ashton Hewitt scored 2.
That Will Reed pulling the strings as well. Was it in that day?
I would have thought Sam Davis, to be honest.
Yeah, 2021 Will Reed would have been, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't got the team sheet in front of me, but I'm guessing it would have been Sam Davis. Yeah. The last time we won in Swansea, however, was 2010, when Dragons won 21-16. A young Talupe Faletau made his name, remember, with a big afro when he first burst onto the scene? Retro Faletau, classic Faletau. And a certain Mr. Di Flanagan was Ospreys fly half. That's how long ago it's been. So, yeah, it's fair to say our record in Swansea is pretty bad. And let's be honest, we don't look like we can beat the egg at the moment. So I think we all know how this is going to go. The thing about the Ospreys, though, I do watch a lot of Ospreys. I do like the Ospreys. I watched them against Lyon, and I thought they looked tired. And I have to say, I was very disappointed with their performance at Judgement Day as well. Again, I thought they looked tired. They're looking like a team to me now that's running on steam a little bit. Because when you look at their last few games, they've had 2 derbies against the Scarlets. They had that European quarterfinal, and then they had another derby, at Judgement Day against Cardiff in Cardiff. These are all emotionally charged games, so I think they've put a lot into these games. They do seem like they're running on empty a little bit, and they will get 5 points against us. They will get their bonus point win. We all know they will, but they're probably going to have to win those 2 South African games, I think, now to break into the top 8. It looks like a big ask, but what have you guys made of the Ospreys this season, and how do you think? Well, are there any areas that we can target at all? Because we know that we're going to struggle up front against them. That is their strength. Although, to be fair, Cardiff did a number on them up front, but let's not forget they were missing Adam Beard and Tipuric and now, weren't they? So,
well, I think where I thought they looked weak yesterday was in their wide defence. Cardiff played quite narrow and then quickly looked for width. And they struggled to organise themselves, and Gabriel Hamer-Webb looked like a world beater yesterday.
Yeah, but Wales Online are calling for him to play for Wales now. Come on.
Because he looked so good because the wide defence was really poor.
Yeah.
And he was just being given space to run into, gaps. So
decent player, don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah.
Calling for Wales, it's just a bit reactionary, isn't it? Just a bit.
Yeah, as my son said, he's no Mason Grady, but
yeah.
Yeah, but so I think that's where the obvious place to kind of target them. And we saw yesterday that Jared, give Jared space, and he can give people a bit of a go.
I like Jared Rosser.
Yeah,
he's a good winger. If we can target them out wide, I'm praying we have Rio and Hugh Anderson back. I know we've not really seen a report on how bad their injury is.
No.
But I agree the Ospreys do look tired. They've had a big run of games. They look a bit spent. But from their point of view, there's probably no one else you'd rather play, a team that literally can't win.
True.
So they probably think, thank God we've got the Dragon.
If I was an Ospreys fan, I would be delighted to have the Dragon.
You'd be like, we can put
it's
in
the perfect game, isn't it? It's
Dragons
the
will
perfect game
lose
to bounce back. It is the perfect game.
The pack we picked yesterday, up against the Ospreys pack that they put out yesterday, I'm not convinced we're going to get a lot of the rub of the green against that, are we?
I wonder if there'll be some rotation though, where they look to rotate a little bit.
Is this where they bring Cummins in? But
I was talking about the Ospreys.
Yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me if they made some changes. Figure out something the Dragons, let's freshen it up a bit. But then they have picked up some injuries as well. I was just so disappointed with their performance at Judgement Day. They normally know how to do a number on Cardiff, especially up front. But
they were poor.
I thought the forwards were poor because I think Ospreys have looked better since Jones took over from Toby Booth.
Attack-wise, yeah, they have.
Yeah, I know, like, kind of Robbie Squidge will be sending me evil thoughts now. The idea that I've kind of criticised Booth, but I think they've looked better under Mark Jones, particularly in attack, like I say. But attack forwards yesterday, they were overpowered by Cardiff, weren't they?
And that really shouldn't happen because it's Cardiff we're talking about here.
Yeah.
They're not a physical side, Cardiff, but they look quite physical yesterday.
They did.
We just never turn up down the Liberty, though, do we? Or the Swansea.com.
It doesn't make sense. Why is that then? Because let's be honest, right? I don't mind the Swansea.com. I actually, as a visiting fan, I prefer the Parker Scarlets. I really don't like Parker Scarlets. There's something about Parker Scarlets I don't like it down there at all. I don't mind the Swansea.com. It's a football stadium, fine. But I don't mind it.
It's not intimidating, is it?
But that's what I'm saying. It's hardly the most intimidating venue. It's not like going to Toman Park, is it? Or bloody the RDS. So
yeah,
why do we struggle so much there? It doesn't make sense.
But I think those intimidating venues now becoming less of a thing. I used to go watch loads of different clubs with my dad, and my favourite one was always to go watch a midweek game down at the Knoll. Because it literally felt like you were like entering like some kind of darkest pit of hell. It was bloody terrifying.
Yeah. The closest we came to actually beating the Ospreys in Swansea was in August 2020 when we drew 20-all. I don't know if you remember that game. Leon Brown scored that amazing try.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that? Was it Dan Evans or someone he just handed off?
Slaps him in the face, didn't he?
Yeah. And I think it was Sam Davis who missed the conversion that would have won it, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think it was Ashley Newt who scored the try right at the end. I mean, that's a game we should have won. But I think it was Sam Davis who, I'm fed up with saying it now, I know. But I think, he missed the conversion that would have given us our first win in Swansea for God knows how long. So, it's just, I don't know. I'm getting to the point now where I'm just thinking, I know it's bad to say, but I don't even know if I care anymore.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
I don't care about this game. Really
I've got no expectations on the result. All I'm looking for now is individuals to
step up.
Put their hand up as well. Like, a shame Hugh Anderson was injured, and fair play, Ewan Ross has stepped in and done quite well. But I want to see Hugh Anderson play, and I want to see him stake a claim to go on the summer tour. Yeah. And I want to see Rio play if he's fit again. And that's what I want. Out these last 3 games, I don't see a win. Judgement Day was our last chance, really. I don't see a win, but I want these players to put their hands up and almost, can we just not break Aaron Wainwright? Because that poor bloke is just like, he is flogging himself for the Dragons.
And I know that I criticised Philo for rotating against Montpellier. Now I'm going to kind of contradict myself. Don't select Aaron for the games out in South Africa.
You don't think he should go on that tour?
No, God, give the bloke a rest. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we're going to get absolutely destroyed.
But the problem is, without him,
it'd be even worse.
Yeah, we're all.
They're going to shove their hands up us anyway, aren't they? So we might as well.
Quality mind, isn't he? Wainwright, fair play to him. He is absolutely outstanding.
What I would love, imagine him playing off a dominant scrum.
Yeah, well, that's why we produce such good number 8s like Faletau, because they have such practice at picking the balls out, don't they? I think, was it Faletau did it once for Wales at Twickenham and pulled the ball out, beat a couple of men and put was Gareth Davis over or the scrum half over? People are like, what a pickup out of a retreating scrum. I was thinking, mate, I've seen him do that for years. Like, that's all he knows.
It wasn't at Twickenham, it was at Cardiff, and he did it. It was Rhys Webb who scored. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
class.
He had very good practice at Rodney Parade of getting the balls out of retreating scrums. As Dragons fans, like, yeah, we've seen that before, mate. Everyone's like, oh my God, how class was that? Yeah, we've seen it before.
Because it's bloody hard work when the scrum's going backwards and there's feet flailing about and to get a hand in and pick her up. Like, but I'm just imagining we've got a scrum that's on top and we're going forward.
Yeah.
That'd be a sight.
That's next season.
Yeah. Well, yeah, look, I don't think Wyn Jones and Dylan Lewis are going to turn us into kind of South Africa in the 90s. But
no.
But they'll give us more stability
as well, don't we?
Well, Seb Davis will give that, won't he? He's a big lump.
We gave Seb Davis a bit of a wave, and Seb is a dragon. He did give us a smirk and a thumbs up, to be fair to him. So
I've always liked Seb Davis. I tell you what, mate, how good was Thomas Young when he came off the bench?
yeah, quality.
He made 2 line breaks, that kick through.
Yeah, that assist was lovely, wasn't it?
I want to see him do that Ronnie Parade, please. That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
But why do I get this awful feeling the Dragon's curse is going to bite him and he's going to come down here and he's just going to be very underwhelming, like so many of our big name signings have been.
Or he'll get injured, and the only proof of his existence is when Gareth sees him in Sainsbury's.
Oh, it's so Dragons, isn't it? So, as much as I like the Ospreys, I'd still like to beat them this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
I would like us to do, I'm sorry, Sam and Rod, you're lovely guys. And I do like the Black Forever, but we really could do with a win. It doesn't mean anything at this stage. We're going to finish bottom, but it'd be nice to talk about a win. And we haven't done the double over the Ospreys since that season when we beat them back in 2010, 2011. So the problem is injuries are piling up. Ben Carter come off for an HIA. I think he did, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
So you kind of think, well, he's not going to be available, is he? For HIA, it's hard to see him.
It depends what the outcome of it was.
Yeah, and the injuries are going to pile up. Are we going to have Rio back? Are we going to have Hugh Anderson back? Because if we're going to go there again with sort of a makeshift team, then there's just no point, is it? There's just no point. Are you going to this one, Gareth? I can't be there this weekend because I'm going away for the weekend. But are you going with the supporters?
No, I can't make it. I've been a couple of times, but no, I can't go down, unfortunately. But yeah, there's no atmosphere down that stadium. With all due respect, it's a nice venue, but good for the football, not for the rugby.
It's the people that make the atmosphere. I said this on rap. People say the atmosphere is poor, but if you don't turn up, then
yeah,
it's going to be poor. I do hope Justin Tipuric makes an appearance for him before the season ends, because this is his last season, isn't it? And they were hoping to have him for the home game so they could promote it, like come and see Tip's last game. I do remember a couple of years ago when it was Halloween Jones's last game, and that was the promotion when he played against us. So, big fan of Tip. So I do hope he returns for him. But I think we all know how this game is going to go. Do you want to give a prediction, any of you? Is it worth it? It's got to be Ospreys by at least, 18, 19 points, isn't it? At least.
Ospreys by 6.
Really? Is that slow?
Yeah, come towards the end of the season, innit? Let's have a bit of joy.
They would still lose it, but only by 6 points. Doesn't that just sum up where we are, though?
Well,
that just sums it up, doesn't
when
it?
Johan Lloyd kicked that penalty, I was sat and I just kind of slumped, and Phil Lewis was behind me and goes, "Oh, you don't even get a bonus point now, do you?" I'm just kind of there going, "Oh, geez."
Only the Dragons can make someone like Johan Lloyd look good at 10.
Oh,
because he did play well. I'll hold my hand. He did play well, but it was against the Dragons, so don't get too excited, lads.
Scott Williams targeted in mind and went through him a fair bit. That was quite nice to see.
He's not a 10.
No, he's a fullback. Everyone knows it. We've had this conversation on that many times.
Yeah.
Gareth, your prediction, if it was worth, do you want to?
I'll go Ospreys by 12, I think. I can't see us getting a bonus point. I just want to see us play good rugby and not just go there and get our bellies tickled. But
what are you laughing at, Gareth?
That's a description. To get our bellies tickled.
Well, it's happened a few times this season. But then again, it's like I was saying to someone in the pub yesterday. We should be sat on 6 wins now.
Yeah.
On a serious point of view, we should be, because obviously Ospreys the first game of the season. I know we were lucky, but Sharks 22-5 up, Lions, we were in control of that game. Cardiff 15-5 up half time, should have won. Ulster should have won. If we had a goal kicker, that would have been 5, and we should have beaten the Scarlets on Judgement Day. That's 6 wins. Can you imagine if we're sat here now saying we got 6 wins? I think we'd be over the moon.
I would more than happily take 6 wins next season. I know people go, "Oh, yeah, let's aim for 10 wins." All this. No, if we had 6 wins next season, I'd be chuffed.
I would take 4. I'd take 4 wins next season. That's a 400% increase on this.
Yeah, do you know what? And I'm sure we'll get into it closer to the time, but I would take 4 wins, provided we also picked up more losing bonus points.
Yeah.
And also played better rugby. But yeah, 4 wins, I would take it. I pay money to see my team win. And I've seen them win once.
4 wins, 2 wins in Europe.
But you want to do what Cardiff did last season, where they only won 4 games in all competitions, but they picked up the most amount of bonus points, didn't they?
Yeah.
You know, and that's what we want to see. They were competitive, and that's what we need to be. We need to be more competitive. We're not even getting losing bonus points. That's the most depressing thing.
Well, we didn't even get one yesterday.
No.
That's what we were meant to be.
We deserved more than that. We deserved at least a bonus point from yesterday. Like I said, I think that scoreline flattered the Scarlets somewhat. I thought we deserved something from that game. Yeah. Sorry,
the Scarlets had a good team out as well, and we're missing 16 players, a lot of which should have been in the 23. They should be romping to victory against us. They're just not a special side, are they, sadly?
Well, they got the job done. But like I said, if I was a Scarlets fan, I wouldn't be getting too carried away because, no, for obvious reasons. Right then, gents, that's a wrap. We will leave it there for this week. Next week's pod is going to be different. We're going to do something different. We're going to be focusing on Super Rugby Cymru. And we'll be looking at each Gwent team because it's been a very good season for Gwent teams, Gav, hasn't it, in the Super Rugby Cymru?
It has. We're 3 of the top 5 for Gwent teams, including Ebo in second and Newport in third.
Absolutely. So we'll have a guest on. We'll have a chat about that. We'll have a chat about Ebervale because that'll make you very happy, I know, Gav. And then we'll talk about the Ospreys loss as well, no doubt. But we will focus on Super Rugby Cymru more. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me, and thank you to our friends at Riverside Sports Bar for their continued support of the podcast. We'll be back next week, but until then, thanks for listening, and I'll catch you on the next one. Ta-ra.
That was The Dragon's Lair in association with the Riverside Sports Bar Newport, an American-style bar with a proper Welsh feel.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.